Tonight we have a special Monday night edition of the Fanatically Real Broadcast as we are bringing you the Banshees Draft Order live, and it starts in about 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real Broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for athletic communications. So, for everybody wondering why we're here on Monday night, we had our regional manager draft show last Thursday. We had to do it on a Thursday due to an internet outage. And we were supposed to do the general manager draft immediately after that, but because of the one night shift, we ended up having to do a slow general manager draft instead, which actually only ended up taking about 2 days. So I asked the regional managers today who wanted to be the first to do their draft order show, and Eric from the Banshees region, the regional manager, will be joining me tonight. I'm waiting for him to pop his camera back on there before I bring him in. There he is. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, man. So we get to start with you tonight, the first night in 5 straight nights of doing draft order shows for each one of our regions. You and your crew decided to pick the Banshees because that's what you played out of last year. So you wanted to keep that alive and well. Let's see. Hanley's on. Josh says he likes the beard. Appreciate it. I still don't know what I'm doing with this thing. I'm still trying to figure it out. Kevin says that's not a beard. Yes, Kevin, we know. You are the bearded wonder. We like your beard. We all love it. Gratz is on with us. Hey, Gratz, how are you? All right, so we're going to do your show. For those who have not seen this before, see, Kevin, will the regional manager be fielding questions from the press? So, yeah, I'm actually going to be asking questions of Eric tonight while we're folding up all of the teams and putting them in the hat. I'm glad you asked that question. So that was actually where I was going to next. You don't like it? Hanley says I need to shave it. My wife won't like it if I shave it. Now that I've got it, she doesn't want it to go away. The last time I walked out of the bathroom after I shaved it and she didn't know that I was shaving it, I got the ugh. Just like that. So that told me I got to keep the beard on now. So for those of you who haven't seen this before, let's put it up on the screen, Eric, and so everybody can see it. We'll blow it up as we get ready to do the rolling so everybody can see it a little bit better. Matt B out with us as well. Matt, how are you? So those of you who haven't seen this before, so what you're looking at is the draft order board for the Banshees region. Across the top and the bottom, you see numbers 1 through 6 and 7 through 12. Those are the draft slots. What you see in the upper right-hand corner is what we call the action dice. That is when we roll 2 6-sided dice, kind of like in craps, that gives us a total number. And these dice make something happen to the board. What you see, that is the 2 6-sided dice there on the left of those 2 dice windows. On the right-hand side is a 12-sided die. What happens is whenever we get ready to put a team on the board, we roll that, and that is the spot that team goes into. Once a team gets put on the board, then we re-roll the action dice, and the board continues to move around until we have the down to the final roll. Once we get it down to the final roll, or there's 12 teams on the board, we do one more roll. I will pull that list up. It is the final roll list. It is a list of 8 items instead. We roll 2 8-sided dice. So 2 8-sided dice, 2 4-sided dice, 2 4-sided dice to get the numbers that are on there. And I actually think it's 7 now, but I think about it, it's 2 through 8. And that final roll will do one more thing to the board. We don't always know what that is, but we do know the board will change after that final roll. And then that will be the draft order that you all will be drafting from when it is your time to do the draft. And I don't think you guys have come up with a date and a time yet, mostly because it's contingent on a few people that are in your region that might have to go out of the area for a couple of days before you guys can do it, if I remember right. So say again?
It'll need to be after the 21st.
It'll have to be after the 21st. Yeah, if we Eric P is out there saying go Warbirds. He is in your draft. He is in your region. I get a thumbs down, but you did pick him for your region.
First down.
There's a good rivalry going there between you guys. All right, so while we talk through some things, let me show what we've got going on. So the hat that we're going to be using to pull the teams out of this year is going to be the Alt Walt WRL hat. Jason says, where do I draft? You're not drafting tonight, Jason. This is just the draft selection show for you to figure out what spot you will be drafting from. So you've got a couple of weeks before you have to worry about drafting. What I have here are the 12 teams. All of the logos that are on there, did them in black and white this year to save ink, and because then there's no color variation as we're looking at it down in the hat. We will fold these up. We will put them in the hat. And then what we will do for the very first selection is I will pull a name out of the hat or a team out of the hat. We will roll the 12-sided die, and whatever that number is, that team will go onto the board, and then we will roll the action dice from there. G-Pet. Gerard, is that you? Did you change your name? I don't feel like that's the same normal name that you come on here with. That's why I'm wondering if that's you or not. But I'm assuming that's got to be Gerard, also in your region too. So you got Eric's on, Jason's on, Coop is on, you're on. There's at least 5 of you from your region. Trying to think who else is out there. You got Ricky. I don't see him on yet. Cam's not on. I don't know if Steve and Luke will be on, but I will make sure that I give them a yell tomorrow and they can watch a replay of this. Maria may or may not be out there. Matt says he's just here so he doesn't get fined. I don't think that I'm going to fine you. I wouldn't have any money to pay you guys if you fined me, so I don't think I can fine anybody either. Matt says this is fun to watch. You guys just like it whenever I get snake eyes, that's all. I'm glad we changed that rule a couple years ago where it can only happen once, because when it happened multiple times, that was never fun for me. So I'm finishing folding these up. I did have one question for you. I wanted to start off with when you drafted your team of general managers, what kind of draft strategy did you have?
Well, if you go through them, I mean, it's not consistent for all of them, but stuck to my strategy, at least for the first half, of everyone having at least 20 years of experience.
Okay. I never really thought about that in your group. Say again?
I said, I wanted the old people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually did not think about that when I looked across your list of people that you had in there. And you're right, for the first half of that list, you did have people with a lot of experience. Matt says that he's still sore that he didn't get the Banshees. Because what you didn't see was him sending me DMs in the backside saying, hey, we're just going to be the Banshees. And then we did the draft order for you guys in reverse order of the way we did the first round of the general manager selection. And since you were the second pick, then you got to do the Banshees because Matt was last pick out of all of that. Well, we can't all be young like you, Kevin. Kevin says 20 years of experience. I'd have to start playing at 8. We are the old guys, Eric, I guess, according to them. So, all right, let's do this. Let's shake this up. Let's get a name out of here. Let's get a 12-sided die roll. We'll put whoever this first team is on the board. Before I do that, though, I'm going to do some maintenance here on my windows so I can see everything slightly better on my side. That's much better. I don't think we need a script for the rest of the night. All right, so let's see who we got first out of the hat. We have Ted's Lasso. This is Brian Ware's team. Let's roll the 12-sided die. And if you see me looking up, it's because I'm using the big screen TV across the room again this year for this, and I'm not nearly as close as I was to it last year. I almost thought I was going to have to put my glasses on. So we are putting Ted's Lasso in the number 2 spot to start us off with. Got the teams laid out a little bit, or the board laid out a little bit different this year. The years past, we used OBS strictly for this, but what we couldn't do was we couldn't get the great comments that we can get and we can put up on the screen. Yeah, Jason says you've been playing all but 1 year. No, you were actually in the very first year, unless there was a year that we had to skip for you. And he wants to know why we're sharing it. So I can't make the board any bigger than that, Josh. I'm sorry. It's just because of how we're stuck with it. I can't move this stuff down. And that's kind of what I was just talking about. The reason we didn't do it with straight OBS is because we can't get your guys' comments. I know Jason worked on a way of making that happen, but I could never figure it out again after he left and went back to Ohio. So this is how we're going to do it. You should be able to see the logos pretty good, and then me and Eric can call out the numbers for you and stuff. I'm going to assume, Josh, maybe you're on your phone, and that's why you're asking that question. I don't know. All right, so we got our first team on the board, Eric, so we're going to roll the action dice. Let's see what we get.
While you do that, that is an elite name from Brian, too.
What's that?
Ted's Lassos.
Ted's Lassos, yeah. And it was weird when he decided that that's what he wanted to go with. And then the logo that he wanted to go with it. I thought it was funny. All right, let's roll. Let me find out where my mouse is. All right, we were rolling the action dice. We have a 12, so we're flipping the board. So only one team on the board. When we flip the board, everybody just goes in the opposite position. So right now, we move Ted's Lassos from the number 2 spot to the number of 11 spot. And just like that, he went from one spot in the churn to the other. Sorry, guys, I can't make it any bigger. I know it might be a little bit hard to see, but I can't make it any bigger than that. The only way I can make it bigger is if I get me and Eric out of here. The problem with that then is, well, let me see if we do this. That help at all? See if they got it a little bit bigger for you. We're covering up the stuff that's not important anyways. And the only other way to get it a little bit bigger is for both of us to leave the screen, but then you won't be able to see who I'm pulling out of the hat. But I just streamed you onto the TV and it looks huge now. Okay, how does my head look? Definitely better? Okay, good. Yeah, Matt, I was wondering what was the whole idea with him going with that. Ted's Lasso is a great name, like Eric said, but I wasn't sure about the logo when we put it together. I did not ask Eric, what would be your preferred draft spot in all of this?
I never go into this trying to have a spot.
That's probably not a bad idea. Then you're never disappointed.
Because then I'll just get angry when I don't get it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I should know that. Because that's where he started coaching on the show. I should know that. That makes sense. All right, let's pull the next team out. No, wait a minute. Are we pulling a team out or are we rolling the action dice? We're rolling the action dice again. My bad. We're not pulling a team out yet because we just flipped the board. Let's roll the action dice. I almost screwed up. You guys got me talking and clicking, and I can't do all the things at once. Let's roll some action dice. Number 4 means we're going to move a team up or down one position, whether we get an odd or an even number. So Brian's team is the only one that's still on the board. So let's roll. If it's an odd number, he goes up the board. If it's an even number, he goes down the board. So he's moving from the number 11 spot to the number 10 spot up the board. So when you guys think about this, as we're moving up and down the board, think about this board being linear vertically with 1 being at the top and 12 being at the bottom. When we say we're moving up the ladder. So whenever we say that we're not moving to a higher position as far as 11 to 12, we're moving up the ladder. So let's roll some action dice again. He's already moved 2 spots, and he's the only person on the board right now. So you guys can see it a little bit better. Let me know you guys are talking if you can see it better or not. So 6, we're going to swap teams' positions with 2d12. So I have to set up 2 12-sided dice, and unless we ended up getting a number 10 in there, which is entirely possible, we're not going to move, and we will be rolling some action dice. This is much harder to see from across the room. I must be going blind. It's the old age thing. So 11 and 2, that is not where he's at right now. So we will go back over to the action dice, and we will roll those. We need to get another team on the board. Jason said better, and I'm just reading this thing. 5. Roll until we get an open position filled. But first, before we do that, we got to pull another team out. So in this case, when it says roll until an open position is filled, if for some reason we roll a 10, we will re-roll again. There are some other ones that we pick where we actually swap teams if there's already somebody in there. Hey, look who it is. It's the regional manager for the Banshees getting ready to go up on the board. So let me reset this to one 12-sided die instead and figure out we're going to put you on the board. You will go on the board this time. We just don't know what spot you're going to go into yet. We will re-roll if it comes up 10, though. All right, number 9. All right, so let's get over here. Average Joe's. Let's unlock you. Put you in the number 9 spot. You guys are sitting right next to each other. I think the greatest thing would be right now is if we just flip the 2 of you. Let's see what can happen with the action dice. 3 monitors, and for whatever reason, the TV really slows down the mouse roll as well. 7, so we're going to roll into an open position is filled. We have to pull another team out of the hat to do that. No, I'm not in this. This is not my division, Kev. I am in Sean's region with the Cerberus. So I don't know when we're going to have our draft selection show yet. So Dad's Memorial Team, the Killers, are going on the board right now. So for those of you who were asking questions about this, this was actually an idea Kevin and I talked about in the offseason of doing this as we were already starting to put some skin on who we were going to have back for 2024. And I gave this as an idea, and it wasn't just Kevin that I talked to. It wasn't the most popular idea, but as we came down to crunch time, needing to find our final team with a couple of people backing out, I thought it was a good idea to bring this back. A couple of the regional managers came up on the net and said they liked the idea. So this is how it's going to happen with the Memorial Team for my dad. It will be auto-drafted, and then it will be auto-lineup for the year. The only time that we're going to intervene on this team is if some reason after the draft is over, he is unable to field a full starting lineup. And then anytime during the year, if buys keep him from being able to start a full team on a starting lineup, that'll be the only time we intervene. So somebody asked me, what if by some off chance this team ends up winning money, which would be amazing if it did. It'd be kind of crazy if it did. But what we're going to do then in that case, if this team does win money and we decide to do this again next year, we will minus the entry fee out of the winnings to pay for the entry fee for the next year. And then all other winnings will carry over into the pot for the following year, making the pot even bigger than it already is. And for those who haven't been tracking, we are going to, we are making the pot very top heavy this year. Only paying out the regional champs as they move on to the world championship and depending on where they finish in that. And then one person who's going to win the all play tournament that we're going to have, they're going to get their entry paid for the next year. I think, and Eric, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or one of the other guys that's out there listening right now that knows the rules. I think first place is $1,380 this year. I think is what it is.
That's about right.
Yep. And then also you all are going to, the winner is also going to get one of the dart boards from footballdarts.com that I have sitting here. That will also be part of the prize. And then since we're talking about it, the boards, there will be a regional manager of the year selection this year. We haven't had that for a while. We're going to get the Hall of Fame members to vote on that. And then whichever regional manager ends up winning the Regional Manager of the Year award will get a footballdarts.com board as well. Jason is asking where you live, Eric.
I live in New York, kind of close to Rochester, close to Buffalo, close to nowhere.
Yeah. And this is absolutely right. So we took that into consideration as well. So no trades with that team. Small disadvantage for that region. But you're also right. In the 30 years that we've been doing this, I think there has been a total of 3 trades in all of the years that we've been doing this. So you're right. We don't do a lot of trading in the redraft. And Sean says you're about 2 to 3 hours from him. I think Sean's in Rome, I think, if I remember right. Eric P says that he wants to land in the 6 or 7 spot. We've talked about this long enough. He also says go Bills to you too. We've talked about this long enough. We got to get Dad's team on the board. So let's roll the 12-sided die and see where he's going to go. So this one is a roll until a spot opens up. So if it's a 9 or a 10, we will re-roll. This team will go on the board. Oh, Dad's team is going in the 11 spot. So let's pull the Killers out of here. Put them in 11 spot. You guys are all stuck down there in the bottom together. Let's see if we can split that up a little bit. All right, let's roll some action dice. Get my mouse in the right spot here again first. There we go. Action dice coming at you. 10 means we're going to do a 3-team swap with 3D12. So the way that this is going to happen, it's going to be in the order that it lists it on the screen when we do the 3D swap. So the first number moves into the second spot. The second spot moves into the third spot. And then the third team moves into the first spot. And you guys won't be able to see this in that order, but I will read it to you is the only other way to make this screen a little bit bigger for you all. So it ends up being exactly like you see there on the screen, 11, 2, and 6. So 11, which is the Killers, moves to the number 2 spot. There is nobody in the number 2 spot to move to the 6th spot, and there's nobody in the 6th spot to move to the number 11 spot. So that is where we are. Hanley says, go Lions. Must be why you are called the Roaring Lions. Eric says, I grew up in Albany, also went to Woodstock 99 in Rome. I thought you were old enough to go to the real Woodstock. I thought that's what we were talking about. Let's roll the action dice. I should not say anything about being that old to be able to go to Woodstock. All right, we're going to swap 2 teams with 2D6. So let me get this reset to 2D6 and see if we get any kind of 2 9s or 10s on this thing. Let's see. And we got a 5 and an 8. That does not affect anything. So let's go back over to the action dice. Let's see. 7 means we're going to roll until a position is filled. So we're going to have to pull another team out. We're going to roll a single 12-sided die to get that up there. Let's see who we're going to put on the board. We are putting the Huron Haulers, one of your, well, I think the only rookie in your region, correct?
Correct.
Yep. All right, the only rookie in your region. Steve, the general manager for this team based out of Ohio. We're going to roll a 12-sided die and see where we're going to put Steve on the board. Steve is going into the number 7 spot. I actually love how this logo turned out. What he gave me was I needed to be Ohio State colors. I need it to be a big truck. I needed to be hauling a football. And it turned out great. It did take me days to get it to turn out great, but we finally got exactly what he was looking for. So pretty happy about that. All right, let's go over to the action dice. See what we got going on over there. 11, we're going to lock a team on the board. So for those of you who have not seen this before, we're going to roll a single 12-sided die. If we roll a 2, 7, 9, or 10, you'll get a little lock put on that team. And then no matter what happens to the board, even if we clear the board, if anybody flip-flops or anything like that, this team doesn't go anywhere. So if this is your team and you're in this spot, this will be the spot you pick from. It does mess with when we do some board flip-flops and stuff like that for the other team that might be in the other spot with it, but this team will be locked. So let's roll the 12-sided die, see if it ends up being 2, 7, 9, or 10 that gets locked. If not, we will just re-roll the action dice. We got the number 2. So the Killers are locked. They cannot move anywhere. Get that lock number 1 moved over there and put on there. This was an idea that Toby gave to me a couple years ago. Great idea. That way we don't forget who's locked on there. Though even for Snake Eyes, Eric, once you got the lock on you, they stay on the board. Everybody else will come off, but a guy with a lock on it will stay there. So that lock is permanent. Nothing can happen to that team now. So the Killers are in the number 2 spot. Let's roll the action dice. You just want Snake Eyes. All right, so we are going to roll a single 12-sided die. It is move up or move down 1 spot based on odd or even. It is an odd number, so everybody will move up 1 spot. So Huron Haulers go up to 6. Average Joes go up to 8. Ted's Lasso goes up to 9. And we will roll the action dice. If I can figure out where my daggone mouse is at. There we go. 6 means we're going to swap teams' positions with the 2d12. So let's load this up with 2 12-sided die. Man, my eyes are really getting bad, and I think they're getting worse as the night goes on. I'm having a really hard time seeing that. It's 2 7s, so nobody can swap in 2 7s, so we're just going to roll the action dice again. We got an 8, which means we're going to roll a d12, and we will replace a team if their number comes up this time. So we'll pull a team out. If it's a 6, 8, or 9, we will replace that team. And if it's not, if it's any of the other numbers except for 2, then they will go right up onto the board. We are putting the Melon Hawks onto the board. Let's get this down to 1 12-sided die. I'm hearing a lot of chatter, or at least a lot of beeps in my ears for Discord. Am I missing anything big on Discord? All right, so we can't put them in the number 2 spot. So we are going to roll again because they are already out of the hat. They're going in the number 7 spot. So Melon Hawks going into the number 7 spot. Make sure I click on the right thing here. Top of the board pretty empty right now. But the whole board's pretty empty. We've only got 5 teams up there. We haven't even hit the halfway point yet. Jason says he feels like there's more moving this year than in past. It could be. I don't know if you've watched it live the last couple of years. We have changed a couple of the roles up a little bit more with the swapping of teams and stuff like that. Those weren't things that we had before. So teams do get moved around a little bit more than we're used to. So this is an 8, which means we're going to replace a team on the board. So if we do roll a 6, 7, 8, or 9, the team that's coming out of the hat right now will replace them. If not, this team will just go up on the board. We have Power Claws going on the board. Let's see where Ricky's going to go. He's going in the number 8 spot. So, Eric, you are coming off the board. I don't know how you feel about that. Let's put you back over into the pile. Put Power Claws there. And then the all-important part to remember, make sure you go back in the hat. Make sure you go back in the hat. Hanley, I 100% agree with you. When I see Ohio colors, I also vomit. Unfortunately, my wife and her whole family and my whole family are Ohio State fans. And Jason, my best friend, is an Ohio State fan. And quite a few people that are in MJ's region, all the Ohio guys, Ohio State fans. Bunch of unfortunates. All right, we got a 10, which means we are doing a 3-team swap. So let's roll 3 12-sided die and let you know what order these come up in. I'm not wondering if this program basically just kind of gives you the order that they're laying in because it seems to be the thing. And it does. So it looks like it's kind of as close as you can get from left to right. So it goes 2 to 10, which we can't move. 10 to 9, which we don't have anybody to move, and 9 to 2, which we can't do because there's a lock on the board. So we will just roll action dice again. We got 8, so we got another possible swap here. So we'll pull a team out. If it ends up being a 6, 7, 8, 9, they will replace that team on the board. If not, they will just go into one of the slots. We have the Aviators. Matt, this is for you. What am I doing? Rolling a 12-sided die. I got to reset that. Did I end up printing the right thing off, or is this the Warbirds? I'm just sitting there thinking about it. Give me just a second. I might have put the wrong daggone logo on there. The Warbirds are in your region, not the Aviators, correct?
Yes. Sorry, I had the whole list up here to double check it for you.
Hold on, I got it right here. Yep, I accidentally put the wrong dang thing on there because we end up repurposing that. So this is the Warbirds, Eric P. I apologize. I ended up putting what we had called in my files as the old one. This is yours. This is the Warbirds. The correct logo is on the screen. The incorrect logo is in my hand. We are going to set this up for, glad that came to me. I said Matt, and he was out there, and I started thinking, wait a minute, Matt and Tony are in the same region together, and they are not in here. So let's roll 112 set of die. This is an 8, so we will be swapping teams. The real Warbirds, there you go. In the 12 spot. So let's put the Warbirds in the 12 spot. Yeah, we at one point had this logo, for whatever reason, as the Warbirds. And then it got switched over to the Aviators. And I think it was whenever you and I found the Albany Warbirds logo, because we were using that for the defunct Dynasty League. For people who want the quick backstory on the Warbirds, it was and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong on this too, both of you. It was a arena or indoor football league that never came about because as they were getting ready to name this team and make it a thing, was right when 9/11 happened. He said opposite of where I want to be. But you also remember it's not a bad spot to be whenever you get 12, because when that board flips, you can go right up into 1, or if you move up or down a list, it makes you real close to 1, even when you're sitting at 12. So, yeah, I'm glad. So it was an indoor football league that had a logo put together for it, but it never came to be because of the whole 9/11 stuff, and they thought it was be a bad look if that was going to be the name of it, especially with them based out of Albany. So what ended up getting named there? Was that where the Firebirds went instead before they moved to Indiana? Was that the team name that got named instead, I think? Somebody find that out for me too while we're doing this. Let's roll some action dice. All right, we got a 7, so we're going to roll until a spot is open to put it on the board. So slots open 1, 3, 4, 5, 10, and 11. Yeah, PC Police, not wrong. I think the logo turned out really, really great. I think they could have still gone with it. I'm glad we were able to use it in a couple of different ways. New York Jackets. So the Firebirds started in the 90s, so that definitely was not it. I wonder what team ended up being that name instead, or if it just never became a team at all, like not even a team went in Albany because of all of that went down. All right, so this is a 7, so we continue to roll the 12-sided die until we get an open spot. So, Gerard, you're getting ready to go on the board in the number 4 spot. We didn't have to roll very much. So, New York Jackets going in the number 4 spot. All right, way more than halfway filled now. Should start seeing some more moving around on this board. 8 means we're going to replace a team if we need to. I hate to say it. I don't even want to bring the word up, but you know what we haven't seen yet? Snake Eyes. Hey, look at that. You're back out of the hat again. We're going to put you on the board. Because it's an 8, you might actually be replacing somebody as well. So let's see what we get in the roll. Number 5, that is an open spot. So you are going there. Anyway, you're still unlocked. Let's put you in the 5. So we got 4 spots left to fill. So 2/3 of the board is now filled. Let's roll some action dice. Anybody remember the Delta defunct Dynasty League that we put together? Does anybody remember what happened on the very last roll of that jewel of a league? 5. We're going to roll until a spot is opened up. Literally, we hadn't had the Snake Eyes for that league. It was the league I never wanted to make happen anyways. And then on the very last roll, after being on camera with y'all for like 45 minutes, we had to start all the way over. I was not happy. If you get a chance to, if you're out there watching, go to the YouTube channel and try to see if you can find the Delta defunct draft show. I don't remember what we called it. Fast forward to closer to about the 40-some minute mark. And as it happens, we inserted some pretty funny cartoons in there. Because of how upset I was about it. All right, so we got a number 5. We're going to roll until an open position is filled. This is the Wildcats getting ready to go on the board.
I was the Houston Gamblers there.
You were the Houston Gamblers in that one. Since this is a 5 and we roll until an open position is filled, we have to roll a 1, 3, 10, or 11. So we continue to roll until we get one of those. 9 is already filled. Sometimes this is the part where it takes forever. That shows 6 on my screen, even though it's partway in between 2 of them, so we will roll again. There's the 11. So we are putting the Wildcats in the number 11 spot. All right, only 3 spots left to go. No whammies. Maybe if I don't use the word and I can use whammy instead, we'll be safe.
We'll save it for another
9.
region.
Yeah, definitely. You go for another region. So 9, we're going to swap with two 12-sided dice. Lots of teams on the board, so I can see 2 people getting swapped pretty easily here. We get 2 12-sided die up here, and let's roll these things. All right, we're going to be swapping the number 8 and the number 4. So Power Claws are going up to number 4, and the Jackets are coming down to number 8. Just like that, it changes. So Eric P., you ain't got to worry about it so much. That could be you too. Let's see, a good read about Antonio Brown, the entrepreneur. Is there a link? If you send a link, we can't see that. Shoot it over on Discord. I'd like to read that, whatever it is that you got for us. All right, Action Dice. We've got 3 spots left to fill. Action Dice says 12. Flip the whole board. This is always fun. So here's the 1 spot that does not move, and this is where the lock comes in. So this 11 and 2 spot right here does not flip because of the lock. But what does happen is the 12 becomes the 1. I have to make sure that I do all of these right. 9 and 4 swap. 5 and 8 swap. And 6 and 7 swap. And there is our flip the whole board. And we are back to some action dice. See, Jason giving us knowledge. Empire was a front runner for the new team named, but they ran into a trademark issue, so they eventually settled on the Conquest. The Conquest played in Albany from 2002 to 2008. There we are, blessed with knowledge. Thank you, Jay. All right, action dice. 8 means we're going to replace a team. Lots of people on the board, so anybody can be replaced except for that number 2. If this comes up as a 3, 10, or 12, though, they just go right into that slot. Who do we need to pull out? Jason, you're getting ready to go on the board. Thank you for blessing us with knowledge. Let's see where you're going to go. Let's get it down to 1 12-sided die and see if you're going to replace anybody or if you're just going to slide up onto the board. Roll says you're going into the number 11 spot. So let's get the cavalry unlocked. Put you over here and let's move the Wildcats back. Make sure we get the Wildcats back in the hat so everybody can see. They're back in the hat. And we still have 3 spots open. Let's roll some action dice.
I didn't realize you were marrying a celebrity.
Action dice says 7. We're going to roll until a spot opens up. So we have to roll a 3, 10, or 12. That is going to take a while. All right. Lady Spartans. Maria going on the board. Let's see if she goes into 3, 10, or 12. Let's get a roll in. That's an 8. That's an 11 that Jason just went into. That's a 4. 3, 10, or 12 is what we're looking for. That's a 2. That one's locked. Definitely not getting in on that one. That's a 5. 3, 10, or 12. Come on, computer. Oh, I think it bounced over all 3 of them right there. There's a 10. All right, so we are putting Maria, the Lady Spartans. Where's her logo at? There it is. Definitely got my alphabet wrong with putting those locks in there. So she is going into the number 10 spot. 2 spots left, the 12 and 3. Warbird, you feeling a little bit better about where it's at? Don't say that. Nobody else can see that, but I can see that. Don't say that. He says, I feel it coming. I don't want it to happen. All right, we got a 10. Means we're going to do a 3-team swap right now. So lots of teams on the board. A couple people are going to get moved around here. Let's get this bumped up to the 3 12-sided die, and let's roll and see what we get. Yeah, it's doing the same thing again from left to right. So the 1 is going to go into the 8 position. So you were comfortable. So now you're going down to the 8 position. 8 is going into the 9 position. And 9 is going into the 1 position. So just like that, when you said you were feeling something, I don't think that's exactly what you meant. I don't think you wanted to be out of that number 1 spot. Matt says snake eyes are coming too. I don't like you guys. I really, really don't. Well, that's what that little green squiggly thing is. That's supposed to be a snake. I keep seeing it pop up, and I'm like, what is that green thing they keep posting? That's supposed to be a snake. Got it now. All right, let's roll some action dice. 11. We are going to lock another team on the board. Board's full of teams right now, so I have a funny feeling that somebody else is getting locked, which is going to really mess with the board when we get ready to do some final stuff here. So let's take this down to 1 12-sided die. Let's roll this. So who's the team that's going to get locked? The number 2 is already there. Luckily for everybody, we get to re-roll some action dice. Action dice say 7. So we're going to roll until a spot is open. The only 2 spots left are 3 and 12. Could take a while to get whatever team this is on the board. Wildcats going back up on the board. It means, Coop, I think if you're still out there watching, man, you're the only guy that has not been on the board yet tonight. All right, so let's figure out where we're putting the Wildcats, if they are going to go into 3 or 12. This could take a while. Oh, that is a 12. Took 1 roll. So Wildcats, I don't think I ever locked them back up. I should be able to just grab them. So last spot open is a 3. So if we get one of those spots that says like 7 where it says roll a dice until position's filled, we already know we got the 1 spot left. We know Coop's left in the hat as well. So we can put him right up on the board without having to do anything crazy. So let's roll this right here. 7, roll until an open position is filled. Coop, you're going in the board into the number 3 spot. So the rock and roll is going up into the 3 spot. That means the board is filled right now. So we have the final roll left to go. Let me pull that list up so everybody can see it. We can go over the final roll list. Final roll is 2 4-sided dice. So we will pull those up and put them on the same screen where we have the 2 6-sided die. So let me reset this. Should see the dice disappear. Let me get myself 2 4-sided dice, which you're not going to see until we get ready to roll, but they're there, I promise you. So here's how it goes. If we roll a 2, you're going to swap 2 teams, 2d12. 3, 3d12, 4, 4d12. If we roll a 5, you're going to do the same thing we've done already tonight. We're going to roll a 12-sided die. We go up if it's odd, down if it's even. If we get a 6 where it says flip a roll with a roll, what we do is we roll 1 12-sided die. Whatever number that one is, that's the row that flips. And whenever that flips, that means 1 becomes 6, 2 becomes 5, 3 becomes 4. And if it's the bottom row, 7 becomes 12, 8 becomes 11, 9 becomes 10. If we get flip both rows, which is a number 7, that happens to both of them. And then if we get a number 8, the whole board gets flipped where 1 becomes 12, 2 becomes 11. Of course, 2 can't move. 3 becomes 10, 9 becomes 4, blah, blah, blah. All right. So Coop said he was trying to be patient. Sean says that he wants to see a number 8 where we flip the whole board. All right. Let's get over there and roll our 2 4-sided die. You ready?
Let's go.
Do it. 2 4-sided dice say 5, which means we're going to move everybody up or down 1 position based on an odd or an even roll. Of course, the number 2 does not move, so people will jump over the number 2 if necessary. So we need to roll 1 12-sided die for an odd or an even. And that is an 8, which is an even. That means everybody is moving down 1. So the number 12 becomes the number 1. 11 becomes 12. 10 becomes 11. 9 becomes 10. 8 becomes 9. 7 becomes 8. 6 becomes 7. 5 becomes 6. 4 becomes 5. 3 becomes 4. 1 becomes 3 because we are locked there. And then the Wildcats is the number 1 pick. So there is your draft order for the Banshees region. I will make sure that I take a picture of this. I'll clean these up a little bit to make sure that everybody's centered nice and pretty so they can be seen. I'll take a picture of this. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get over to Discord, if it's already over there, because I know some of you are very efficient in getting things in there before I am. I know you all wanted the snake eyes. I am thankful that it did not happen, especially since we were going so long. I just kept feeling it too, thinking, oh, it's going to happen and we're going to be all the way near the end, and all of that was for naught, and we got to start all the way over.
Let's not forget, this is the old region, so we have a bedtime.
Yeah. Everybody needs to have a bedtime too. Yeah, absolutely true. It's going to be fun. We're going to do this again, like we said at the top of the show. We're going to do this every night this week for a different region. I think tomorrow night we are doing the Phoenix, which is Matt Kroll's region. And they also have a locked in time for their draft, which we will discuss tomorrow night during that program. And there is your draft order for those of you that were out there watching tonight. I know Coop was out there, ended up in the number 4 spot. I think Gerard was out there, ended up in the number 6. Eric P was out there in the number 9. Eric, you ended up in 10. And Jason, you ended up in 12. Good thing is at least you get back-to-back picks. Eric says he's happy with his 9. I'm happy to hear that, because I didn't know where you really wanted to be, because you had talked about being at, I can't figure out where my mouse is at. You had talked about, why can't you just show up like you're supposed to, mouse? Talked about being in 6 or 7, so hopefully you're okay with 9. He does say good night, fellow seniors. I am not picking Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow again. Hell no. Well, we all know what's not going at number 4. So number 5, start doing homework, and then you'll figure out where it is. Hanley, I don't know if that's the first time you've seen this. I don't know if you're still out there or not. Let me know what you thought of this, and anybody else who's seeing this for the first time. I think everybody else on the broadcast tonight has seen this before, though. I'm kind of scrolling back through to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I think Hanley was the only new person who maybe had not seen that. So I'm also asking you guys again. So the size worked out pretty good there towards the end once we moved me and Eric's faces down. If that's the case, then we'll know tomorrow when we do Matt's to automatically move us down to get a little bit bigger on here for everybody. All right, that's the show. We're coming up on almost 48 minutes. I appreciate you, Eric, for coming in and doing this. Thank you for being a regional manager with me this year. And
Wait, me right here.
Yep. Let me know whenever you guys lock in a date and time. Get with Coop and find out when is probably the best time for him, and then start working the rest of the region. And then I will post this draft order shortly on Discord. And we will see anybody who wants to come back again tomorrow night to watch the Phoenix region draft order. Got to thank the sponsors, SMS, the Recast, Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel. I guess we could just say apparel at this point. And then thank you, all of you who showed up tonight for this. We will see you tomorrow night. Well, sorry, man. I didn't mean to call you out. It was just the discussion earlier, and I don't want to say any more than that. And you're not holding anybody up. You just happen to be a guy who has a definitive timeline of whether you can or cannot do. So y'all have a great night. Eric, again, thanks. And I'm going to shut this thing down, and then I'll hit you guys up on Discord here shortly. Everybody have a great night.
Have a good night.